Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we are going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Daniel kicked Johnny off the balcony during the events of the Karate Kid? So in this timeline, the events of the Karate Kid would still happen. Johnny and the Cobra Kais would still pick on Daniel, and those events would stay the same. Daniel would still meet Mr. Miyagi, and he would agree to train him. So Daniel and Johnny would still train for the All Valley. And the night of the All Valley, Johnny and Daniel would start winning their matches, and they would still make it to the finals. And much like in the original timeline, Daniel would still defeat Johnny using the crane kick. So Daniel would be the 1984 All Valley champion. And after the tournament, Kreese would be mad at Johnny for losing the All Valley, and he would still be choking him. But Mr. Miyagi would still come along, and he would still save Johnny. And those events would stay the same. So Johnny and the rest of his friends would leave Cobra Kai, and the next day, Johnny would confront Daniel at school. He would tell Daniel that he got lucky, and he would say that he won by an illegal kick, but Daniel would say that he won fair and square. So Johnny would suggest that they fight right then and there. He would want a rematch to determine who was the better fighter, but Daniel wouldn't want to get involved. But Tommy and Dutch would pressure Daniel into fighting. So in this timeline, Daniel and Johnny would have a school fight. It would be similar to the fight Robbie and Miguel had in Cobra Kai, and much like their fight, it would make it all the way to the top of the staircase. Johnny would be using offense, while Daniel used defense. Ali would want to stop the fight, but Tommy and Dutch would block Ali. Johnny would be showing no mercy, and he would pin Daniel on the ground. Johnny's friends would be cheering him on, but much like Miguel, Johnny would have a realization that he was doing the wrong thing, that he was turning out like Kreese, and he would remember that Mr. Miyagi saved him. So Johnny would let go of Daniel, but this is when Daniel would get mad, and he would attack Johnny. And much like Robbie kicked Miguel off the balcony, Daniel would kick Johnny off the balcony. Everyone at the school would be surprised, and Ali would yell at Daniel, saying, "Daniel, what did you do?" Daniel would be scared, and he would try to run away, but Bobby and Tommy would stop him. This is when the police would show up and arrest Daniel, and Daniel would be sent to juvie. Johnny would be in a coma, and he would be sent to the hospital. Johnny's mom would rush to the hospital, and she would be devastated. Lucille and Mr. Miyagi would visit Daniel in juvie, and Daniel would apologize for what he did. He would say that it was all a mistake, and that he lost himself to his anger. Mr. Miyagi would say that everything was going to be okay. Kreese would find out what happened to Johnny, and he would want to get revenge on Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. So Kreese would go to Terry Silver a lot sooner in this timeline, and he would explain everything. So Terry Silver would want to get revenge on Mr. Miyagi and Daniel. Terry Silver would want to hire some people to go to juvie and beat up Daniel, and he would also want to focus on ruining Mr. Miyagi's life. Eventually, Johnny would wake up from his coma, and Johnny's mom would be relieved. She would ask Sid to pay for his surgery, so Sid would pay for Johnny's operation, and he would also pay for Johnny's recovery. Terry Silver would buy the building where Mr. Miyagi worked, and he would evict everyone and fire Mr. Miyagi, and he would hire some people to trash his home. But Mr. Miyagi wouldn't break, and he would continue to visit Daniel. Kreese would want to go visit Johnny, but Johnny wouldn't want to see him. So Johnny would send Terry Silver to visit Johnny, and Terry Silver would say that he was a friend of Kreese, and that he was there to help him. So Terry Silver would pay for some of the best physical therapists to help with Johnny, and slowly over time, Johnny would learn to walk again. Johnny would be grateful, and Terry Silver would offer to train Johnny. So Johnny would start training with Terry Silver, and Kreese would eventually convince Johnny that he was trying to change. So Johnny would forgive Kreese, and Kreese and Terry Silver would continue to run Cobra Kai, and eventually some of the former Cobra Kai students would rejoin, so Cobra Kai would start growing again. Many months would pass, and Daniel would be released from juvie, and by the time he gets out, Daniel would be forced to move away from the valley, so the events of Karate Kid 2 wouldn't happen in this timeline, and the events of Karate Kid 3 would be pretty uneventful. And that is where I'm going to end this What If. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Daniel kicked Johnny off the balcony during the events of the Karate Kid? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.